Hello, beautiful souls. You're listening to the Angels and Awakening podcast. I'm your host and author, Julie Jancis. Did you know that you can listen to this show everywhere podcasts are found? It's true. Now, I have 3 free gifts just for you. First gift, I give away a new reading each week to a person who's left a 5-star positive review of this show, then submitted it to me using the contact form at theangelmedium.com/contact. I hope I'm calling your number next. Second gift, if you'd like a new daily angel message, join me on Insta at Angel Podcast. Third free gift, if you'd like to know the name of one of your guardian angels so that you can work with them even more closely, go to the homepage of my website, theangelmedium.com, and submit your contact info at the very top. I'll email you back personally with the name of one of your angels. Okay, as we begin the show, I want you to feel the presence of your angels surrounding you. And just know that the loving, positive messages you resonate with today are messages for you from your angels and loved ones on the other side. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to the Angels and Awakening podcast. I'm your host and author, Julie Jancis. And friends, today we're here with my friend, Valerie Wildman, who has this beautiful angel story, multiple angel stories, to share about loved ones from the other side coming through energy lights, and this particular light that does a crazy dance only at certain times for you, Val. So first, Valerie, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I feel so excited to be here. I have been looking, which is how I met you, Julie. It was like, is anybody doing this? Is anyone talking about angels? And I was so excited. And the magic light, that's what I call it, started blinking like crazy when I found you. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm in the right place. So maybe it'll blink during this podcast. I don't know. But I did tell Julie this story, and I've learned that there are many people who have loved ones on the other side that the lights blink when they're around. So I'm happy to be here. So excited.
Yay. Well, you know what? It happened, and it's the only time that it's happened for me. The hour right before I got the call that my grandma had passed away, who was like a second mom, the lights that I have for the podcast set up just started going crazy. And it's never happened before. It's never happened since. But I mean, 10 minutes, 5 minutes after I got off of that call, or off of that podcast episode, I got the call that she had passed. And it was just such a huge sign to me that she had been coming through, because also in that podcast episode, what we had been talking about was her and the trauma that she endured when she was young, and just how it was passed down from generation to generation, and how we can heal that. So I think it's really fascinating, not just when lights blink, but when lights blink in association to what you're talking about, what you're thinking about, what you're looking at, what you're reading. And that's what you found, right, Val?
Absolutely. I sometimes it would come through when it was my husband, and then other times, and it just blinked a lot just then. And then it would come through when I would be talking about angels or a spiritual truth. I would ask a question. And sometimes I could just, if it wasn't my husband, I've learned from other people and other psychics and mediums that I could say, is this so and so? Is this not? In my research after this started happening with my husband, I found a lot of people are talking to their light bulbs and talking to their loved ones. To give you a little bit of a backstory on that, it can be a little bit of a sad story, and I know we all have them. So my husband has been the love of my life, and we were married for 25 years, and he got lung cancer. And we used to have this sort of a joke, sort of, that whoever goes first, please blink the lights. Because sometimes when I would say, I feel like my mom's around, I feel like she's here, the lights would blink. So he'd always tease me when the lights would blink or the printer go off, and I go, oh, is that your mom? Kind of teasing me. But So I was in the hospital with him the whole time. I basically lived at the hospital with him. And when he became intubated, the doctors taught us that we could communicate by saying, blink twice for yes, meaning his eyes, and blink once for no. And after he passed away, I was totally devastated and, of course, and came back home, and this ancient light that was on his desk started blinking. And I thought, oh my God. So I went, his nickname was Wookie. That's another story. And I'd say, Wookie, if that's you, blink twice for yes and once for no. And we continue to communicate like that. And so brought me and brings me great solace when it happens. And it feels like peace and love. And I notice that if I work to open the heart chakra, let's say right here, it's more easy to communicate. So I'm finding that heart and love is the portal for communication with loved ones on the other side, especially with him. And that was kind of a regular thing. And a lot of my friends were like, poor Val, that's my nickname, Val. And poor Val, she misses him so much that she's doing a lot of magical thinking and she's like hallucinating. So then I would bring them over, or people would be over and they'd been here before I even got here. And I'd walk in the door and the light would start blinking. And then they too began to realize. And so they walk in and have conversations with this light too. And then the light started blinking in a different way in certain occasions. And it's funny because every once in a while it's blinking now. I'll see if I can catch it before this is off. I'm not sure. And what I was invited to be on this podcast, not this one, another one. And I sat down to meditate to kind of ask for guidance on what I should talk about. And all of a sudden, all the lights started blinking all over my home. And the clock said 11:11. And I knew that this was important. So I sat down to listen. And to give you a little backstory to that is I've been getting messages for a long time. Let's say I would go for a healing, a body worker healing, and suddenly I would get, do you believe in angels? And I'd go, yes. And they said, well, they have a message for you. And I'm bracing myself, going, okay, here it goes again. And they say, the angels are telling you they need your help. And then I would go back and they'd say, you have cold feet. Why are you afraid? And I'd say, it's just too much. It's just too much. I know they need my help. And I would start sobbing. And I didn't want people to think that I was, a crazy angel lady. And I'm going to take a chance right now because the light is blinking. So I'm going to see if it continues blinking while we talk. It did just go on, and I'll see if it blinks. I'm going to move over here. This is the light right now, and it may go on and off, but just so to let you know. So when it goes, you've seen it off now. So if it goes on, I'll bring you guys back into that. So I sat down and I listened, I meditate, and I just listened deeply. And I just said, okay, I'm listening. How may I serve? And what I heard in my thoughts was, please sit in front of the angel painting. The angel painting is my nickname for this painting that my husband painted of a very beautiful kind of sacred place in the jungle that we used to go to. And I see clouds sometimes when I look at the clouds and the angels. And it said, sit in front of the angel painting. Please don't be afraid. This is what the message was. Please let everyone know that we really do exist, and that all you have to do, all anyone has to do, is ask for their help. And I know that angels come in at other urgent times in people's lives, but they were just trying to let us know that we can call on them. They want to be called upon. They don't want to intervene in our free will, but they will help us if we're in a dire need. And sometimes they'll just help us if we say, help me anytime, just give you permission. This is what I was learning. So in this podcast, it came up, do you believe in angels? And I said, well, I usually don't talk about this, but I guess I'm coming out of the angel closet. And I do. And the people that were interviewing me did too. And the messages in the comments area, people were so thankful that this had come up because they would have similar situations. And I also had said, and it was true, that the clock had said 11:11 when all these lights started blinking. So after that, life took a radical turn. All of a sudden, when I came out of the so-called angel closet, the lights were blinking like crazy. And as Julie knows, I'm an actor in television and film and many other things around the world, doing a lot of humanitarian work. And all of a sudden, all of these parts started showing up nonstop. It was happening so fast that I wasn't even sure that I could learn the lines fast enough and take on these different characters fast enough. And it was just miracle after miracle. And part of those miracles was meeting Julie, by the way. I was so happy to find all of these kindred spirits, of course, including her. And those of you that are listening, because I'm imagining you're here because you too believe in angels, or you wonder about it, or you wonder about where do our loved ones go on the other side. So I feel like it helped me find this kindred community and help validate all of our experiences. So I always ask to be a vessel for spirit and how may I serve. And some other things happen. I hope you don't mind my continuing, Julie, with some of the strange and wonderful things that happen sometimes after. I often start the day and say, tell me what to do, tell me where to go, tell me what to say and to whom. And I'm not the only one that does this. There's a very well-known person named Jean Shinoda Boland. She's a very well-known author and psychoanalyst, and she basically does the same thing. And she calls them assignments. And then what she does is she follows synchronicities. See, in other words, coincidences. Some of you may have heard of the Celestine prophecies. And that's what I do. So I felt so supported in that was happening in my life. And so often what happens is I may meet people, beings, humans, that seem like they're a person without a home. I prefer to say that than a homeless person because feel like that's a label. And sometimes we'll have an encounter in a story where an answer to a question I've been asking comes up, something very specific that they could not know. And sometimes I'll actually say, you're an angel too. You're in the angel club now. And I used to tell my husband this when he was alive, and he'd just roll his eyes. And one day he was in the car with me, and we were in this very dark neighborhood, and we were trying to find the entrance to a freeway. And it was a very narrow little entrance in the dark. And this man emerged out of the darkness, and he came to the window, and he just looked at me and said, you're in the angel club. And then he smiled and he disappeared. And I just looked at my husband and I said, did you hear that? And he said, yes. And so he started witnessing it. And I'll tell you another story about that.
Friends, guess what? We're hosting two live in-person events, an in-person Angel Reiki School and an in-person spiritual retreat. The first event is the weekend of June 1st in Oak Brook, Illinois, where I'm teaching the Angel Reiki School. This is where you get certified in mediumship, angel messages, and energy healing all at once. For a limited time, when you register for the Angel Reiki School in person, you'll also get my 8-week online Angel Reiki School. Visit theangelmedium.com/get-certified for details. You'll also find that link in the show notes. It's theangelmedium.com/get-certified. The second live in-person event this year is a spiritual retreat, the weekend of October 4th in Oak Brook, Illinois. The spiritual retreat is different in that it's for your own personal growth. The spiritual retreat is all about your own personal healing, your journey, reconnecting with yourself, learning to connect with your angels. And I'm going to talk about all new angels that I've never talked about before anywhere. This spiritual retreat is going to leave you with more personal peace, purpose, clarity, and confidence than ever before. Learn more at theangelmedium.com/retreat. That's theangelmedium.com/retreat. So, just to recap, we have the in person spiritual retreat October 4th for your own personal healing and growth. And the in person Angel Reiki School June 1st is where you become a medium, angel messenger, and energy healer all at once. Links to details are in the show notes. I can't wait to meet you and hug you in person.
One day I was looking out over my balcony and I saw a man. He was dressed in clothing of what seemed to me to be a Huichol Indian. I've spent time in the mountains working with the Huichol Indians and learning from them. I kind of always looked up to Margaret Mead, so I kind of have this secret Margaret Mead life around the world and in the inner city where I facilitate circles with young people. And I don't usually go looking like this. I just put on a hat like Julie's got on, and I dress very plain and with a kind of plain beat up car. And rarely do people know me from TV unless if they ask, I'll tell the truth. But in any case, so this life has led me to be with the Huichol Indians. And I saw this man walking by. He was in Los Angeles. He was walking by the canals near Venice and Marina del Rey. And I thought, why is this Huichol man walking here? And he was talking to himself and he was covered with dirt and he was upset and he was frustrated. And I thought, he seems like he's hungry. So I ran down to see if I could help because I speak Spanish fluently. And he was moving so long along the dirt path, I could not keep up. And he finally disappeared into the distance. And my heart was just aching for him. And I thought, I said, to the angel, some people call, say, spirit, if it's for the highest good, I hope that I meet him again. Please allow me to meet him again and help. So the next day I drove up to an ATM and a pizza parlor, and there he was standing in front of the pizza parlor and he was pacing. And so I'm like, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I came up and I started talking to him in Spanish and I said, are you hungry? And he said he was. And I said, just a moment. I went inside the pizza parlor. Julie, I don't know if I've told you this story. And the young woman behind the counter took my order and I said, I'd like a large pizza, please. And she said, okay. And then I don't know why I wanted to do this. I said, I just wanted to let you know that I'm getting this pizza, thinking she would love this idea for this hungry man outside. And she said, I can't sell you the pizza for him. And I started to say, but that means that you're my problem. And I thought, no, this is not about being right or wrong or teaching any lessons. This man has to eat something. So I said, okay, I'm going to get another pizza. I'm getting it for my family. So it seemed to be taking forever. I looked outside. I couldn't see him anywhere anymore. And my heart was breaking again because I knew he was so hungry. And then finally, when the pizza was ready, I look outside and I see him down the block and I start yelling, hey, hey, wait a minute, wait a minute. Oye, oye, espérame, espérame. And there I am now. I'm running with this pizza for a block. And he's standing there crying and I'm standing there crying. And I hand him the pizza and I say in Spanish, I am so sorry. I said, it's just that they're scared. They don't understand the hard life. And next thing you know, we were hugging and crying, believe it or not. And then I said, what is your name? And all along I'm thinking, is this an angel or is this, a human? And he looks me straight in the eye and he says, Angel, which means angel in Spanish. And I just take it in and look in his eyes and I say, your mother named you well, and I will pray for you. And we said goodbye. And I turned away and I walked to my car and I started sobbing. I think I was sobbing because of all the pain and misunderstanding in the world. And I thought so much of our suffering as humans is that we don't understand each other. So we're afraid of each other. And then I said, okay, I gathered myself together and got ready to drive. And I looked in the rearview mirror and there he was. I could not figure out how on earth did he get from all the way over there to my rearview mirror. And he was talking to himself like a crazy person. So I backed up. And as I started to drive out of the parking lot, I waved at him and looked at me and said, Vaya con la luz, Valeria. Go with the light, Valerie. The next day, I told my very sick, skeptical, and wonderful father this story, and he had tears in his eyes. And I got an email from him the next day. He said, I met an angel. A man that seemed to be homeless was going through the garbage. And I thought, well, maybe I should give him some money. And so he walked over to the garbage can and the man, he said, can I offer you some money? He had $20. And the man said, oh, no, no, no. But I'd love to walk with you if I could. And he said, sure. So I start walking and he said, I used to be married to a beautiful woman that was a model for Eileen Ford. Well, my mother, my dad's wife, deceased wife, was a model for Eileen Ford. And he said, and she was such a lovely person and it was true love. And she passed away and I never got over it. He said, but then I learned that she was around me all the time. And then before he left, he reached in his pocket and handed my dad $20. And my dad said, how could this possibly happen? How could this possibly happen? So I could go on forever, Julie, and take up 5 podcasts, but these are some of the many, many stories. And a lot of them I keep to myself. And I, as you know, have been going around for years interviewing what I call human angels or like angels in the city of angels. And people turn in stories about that. And it's kind people that seem like everyday people and they're always doing kind things. It's not necessarily the CNN heroes. What I've been learning in my meditations and from people on their deathbeds, that they tell me this is the messages they get. And that is, it's when all is said and done, all that will have mattered is the moments between people. So right now, Julie, you and I, and maybe people that are listening, maybe we're having one of those moments. And that is what it's all about. That was the message that the angels were telling me. So here I am now coming out of the closet because almost everyone I tell and ask them about their lives, when they hear that I'm doing a story about human angels, they want to tell me a beyond human angel story. And they want to whisper. They don't want anyone to know. We're all so afraid. So I decided to, whether I'm afraid or not, come out of the closet and invite everyone, including myself, to talk about stories where we think maybe we met an angel. Maybe there are angels around us. And so that's how I met you, Julie. And here we are, kindred spirits. So I hope that this story inspires you to at least say, what if? What if? And just ask other people, do you believe in angels? I cannot believe how many people say yes over and over. And also how many people I am grateful to say that they get signs from their loved ones on the other side. And Julie, the fact that you've been brave enough to have this podcast, and I know you too have your story about, am I going crazy hearing your father? Here we are, and this is how we serve. And anybody, like you say, who has angel stories, you invite to share them too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I love that story. And you and we talk all the time, like at least once a week, Val. So I can share this with people. When you were on that podcast and you got off of it and you were like, okay, well, the angels were well received, you looked up angels and you found the podcast. And I think you said when you found the podcast or you started listening to it, the light would go like crazy.
Yes, it did. And I was like, well, I guess I'm on the right track. So that has been something that's been happening too. And it's been guiding me. And it's funny because it was blinking during this whole story that I just told you, and now it's stopped again. So you're not gonna believe me, but I promise it's true. We'll see.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
So I'm also going to talk about some other angelic types of experiences that I've had, but I think that some of those maybe, you've all had too, but I know that, for instance, even when I've talked to people that are mediums that talk to people on the other side, my husband often comes through very specifically. And without going into all those details about him, I'll tell you one funny and interesting story is that at one point, this one medium, this is before I knew you, Julie, said, "Your husband's around the grandchildren a lot, who are Ella and Bella." And I was thinking, oh no, I don't know an Ella and Bella. And I thought, well, maybe I'll meet them. The next day, I'm taking my granddaughter out for lunch, and she starts telling me about her two new best friends who are twins named Ella and Bella. So
No
yeah,
way.
he was like, so he's around the grandchildren. I'm sure of that too. And I have to say that the times that I have gotten to play roles that bring up those questions, I was on Days of Our Lives for years, and I played a character named Faye Walker. And my daughter on the show, the role, if you watch the show, was named Nicole. And I would have the beautiful experience of coming back as the ghost of her mom after my character died. And I remember one day thinking, how do I play this? On a bench in a park, and, how should I act? Should I act like, hi, Nicole, like sort of act like every day, I was really nervous. I was pondering. I I was making such a big deal out of this small but very important scene. And I was walking through an alley, and I saw this woman who seemed to be a homeless woman. And I'd seen her before. And she walked up to me, and she started giving me a message. And the message was, don't worry about it. She goes, you're going to be perfect. All you have to do is be yourself. Just sit on the bench. She knew exactly the details of the scene, and be yourself. Be completely natural, which is what I did. Who was that? How could she possibly know? So when I share these stories now, people go, that happened to me. This person walked up, and I was asking a question in my prayers, and they just ran by me and stopped all of a sudden and said the perfect message at the perfect time. So I want to invite people to share those stories too on this podcast, or let Julie know about it as well. So now I feel what I thought was going to be really scary and hard has been such a delightful journey. I just followed the synchronicities and ask, how may I serve? Or I say, tell me where to go, tell me what to do, tell me what to say and to whom. And the next day, or that day, it's truly one of the most beautiful days. And I'm getting so used to miracles happening now, even though I'm in awe every time. Coming out of the angel closet has been nothing short of miraculous.
That's amazing. It's so funny. A couple of things come to mind. I've been watching this TV show that's got 3 seasons. I think they're in the middle of their third season, but it's a show called Ghosts. And Thorfinn can like manipulate the lights. Each of the ghosts have different gifts. And
I forgot about that.
oh my gosh, the episode that we just watched last night is this one where this woman is sitting down asking for a sign in the house, and the owner of the house is right next to her, and Thor like flickers the lights, but it was the wrong answer. And I just thought it was a total play on what we're talking about. But that show is just spiritually hysterical. Like if you're in the spiritual world,
Yes.
and while you were
Yes.
talking, Val, I just got this vision of what a different world this would be if we only chose to bring through the positive, loving messages of the other side and deliver those to one another and uplift one another and support one another. I mean, I just get this vision of us talking to, strangers and just one another and just bringing through these positive messages. And if you have millions of people doing that, how it would spread like wildfire. And this could be a much different place.
I have the same vision. I think that more of us are having this vision. I now, when I sit in circles with people, people start saying, and then I got a message from the angels, like it's everyday dialogue, like this is what I have for breakfast. Now, people, more and more of us are saying that, or they'll say spirit, we'll say spirit, and people are not as afraid. So I feel like now more than ever, especially young people need hope. All of us need hope. The Surgeon General of the United States recently came out and said that the depression, the anxiety, the suicidality in young people is the epidemic of our times. And I know that's not just true of young people. And so I constantly hear help the young people and help the children. So I feel like the more that we share these stories of hope and light, and that people realize they're not alone, it can change the world, just like you were saying. So I I'm so grateful for you for being so brave, and other people that come on this podcast that are being so brave to speak about these things, because I know it can be scary in a world where people are very judgmental as well. And I feel like, have the courage to share if it happens to you. And also, just don't forget, you can ask. I really want to share that message that came through that time is, if you can't find your keys, ask the angels. If you feel like you have a sickness that is bothering you, or you're dealing with a lot of fear and depression, ask help of the angels. They really, really, really want us to ask them. They don't necessarily look like the pictures that you often see of halos and and wings. A lot of people feel them in different ways, as I know you've talked about, Julie. Sometimes you feel a warmth, sometimes you feel a breeze, sometimes you'll see a sign, like I might see hummingbirds sometimes, or doves, white feathers, repeating numbers, all of it. I just feel so excited when I see that. And I feel like it makes life feel so magical and wondrous. And so you said something the other day about different angel tips, you call them, I think, and you talked about journaling, and journaling your experiences of these things, which can bring them in more, or help us pay more attention to them. So wakes us up to these things that are maybe happening to us all the time, or around us all the time. And that can bring so much joy, bring people out of depression, and just being open to the possibility. Even if you say, I don't believe this, maybe just say, what if? Maybe just imagine that it might be possible. And that itself can be uplifting. And share the stories. Don't be afraid, or be afraid. I'm still afraid. I'm afraid, as I told you these stories today. I just invite you to go forward anyway and share the stories and share the feelings. It's so important. That is a beautiful way to create those moments between people, and just say, even if you said, I don't know if this is possible, but this happened. What do you think? Something like that, or not what you think. You might be surprised who comes up to you out of the blue and starts telling you stories like, Hi, I'm your waitress for the day. You want to know this happened the other day? Do you want to know something that happened to me? I had an accident. I should have died. The car exploded. But there was this being I saw out of the corner of my eye that was praying the whole time that the ambulance people were trying to pull me out of the car. And that person is gone when I got out. And she goes, but I really think that that was an angel. Don't you? Oh, and by the way, what would you like to eat this morning?
Is that a true story?
That's a true story.
Oh my goodness. Oh, Val, you never cease to amaze me.
It's not me. This is just what happens. And my friends go, okay, now what did you do? I'm trying to look at this light and see what's going to happen. I'm going to think.
I can see it flicker it off your face.
You
Yeah, I
can?
can see it.
Okay. Yes. So it is flickering a little bit.
It's amazing. It was flickering like crazy as you came over.
I know. I know. It's like, so I guess sometimes it's going
Oh,
to
there it
flicker, but
goes again.
I know. So it's weird. When I turn it away, it flickers.
That's amazing. Oh, there it goes.
I'm not sure what's going on, but I'm just, I know. Okay, I don't know. It's playing with me. Maybe, maybe it's my husband. We'll see. Ah, there you go. I didn't do that. I didn't do that.
No, that's amazing.
I don't know. Sometimes it blinks a lot.
He's always with you, Val.
So I am going to continue to invite people to tell their stories, stories of where they feel like they may have had an adventure with an angel. But I have to tell you, everyone that I've spoken to lately, even like the customer service representatives when I'm having a technical issue, they will tell me, yes, they believe in angels. And they will say that people need hope right now and that we must have something like this be more public. So I know I'm feeling called to that. And I know, Julie, you're always doing that. And people really want to have the hope and know that it's real. So I am going to be braver, and I just hope that you all will too. And then look for the signs. It may not be a blinking light. It may be something else for you. But sometimes it's just a knowing. It's just an absolute knowing in your heart, and trust that. Just trust it. That's all. And I know this for sure, that anybody that listens to this podcast has to have some form of wondering, some sort of belief, or may themselves be a human angel that's doing kind things in the world. Or you wouldn't be here asking these questions, and you wouldn't have found Julie and this podcast either. And find something that's called Angels and Awakening. Even if you doubt, like my father was the biggest skeptic of all times, you're here. And thank you for that, because that means that you're also bringing light to the world because you're curious. You want to know at the very least. And maybe you have a message and a story to tell too.
Thank you, Val. That's so beautiful.
Oh, you too, guys. And I know that seems weird that the light blinked a little, but it really did happen.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I love it. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I love you so much.
I love you too, and I will stay in touch. And all of you, thank you for being here. You might feel me in the background listening too sometimes. And I'm so grateful to have found this community of people as well. Thank you, Julie, for creating the safe space for all of us to share these stories with you too.
Of course. And to anybody listening who has a story that just kind of popped into your mind today as Val was talking, know that that is a story that the angels are saying you could come on the show and share. We would love for you to email it in or share it with us over at theangelmedium.com. You can use the contact form to submit it. And we are pulling together collections of those angel stories to also share in books. So I've had some people reach out and say, Julie, I don't really want to be on camera, but I think I have a great angel story that would be great for a book. We'd love to see those and read those as well. Thank you to everybody who's listening. Thank you, Val.
Thank you too. Thanks for listening to my long, long stories, everybody. Love you. Mwah.
Love you.
Thank you.
Friends, I need your help reaching as many people as possible. If you'd like to support this podcast and help us spread more hope to the world, please book a session with me, join my angel membership, or take my angel Reiki school. What's the difference? If you'd like to know what messages your angels and loved ones have for you, you'll want to book a session with me. The angel membership is all about your own personal spiritual healing. The membership takes you on a spiritual journey that teaches you how to create your own heaven on earth. And the Angel Reiki School is for those who want to get certified in mediumship, angel messages, and energy healing all at once. These are 3 ways you can help us share a message of hope and love with more people than ever before. Register for one or all 3 at theangelmedium.com. That's theangelmedium.com. Now, let's pray together. As we do, I want you to pray in a way where you feel as though everything you want for yourself and the world has already come true, and you're giving thanks. Why? Because this is the best way to manifest. So let's begin. God, universe, source, thank you. We're so grateful that you've blessed this world with calm and peace for all. This calm and peace has spread like ripples, soothing the hearts of every soul. Thank you for opening our hearts to abundance, allowing each of us to live our most authentic life, and helping us to create our own heaven on earth. We thank you for the love and deep heart-to-heart connection that surrounds us every day in our relationships. We thank you for the abundance of health and aliveness we feel radiating from every cell in our and our families' bodies. Thank you for the gift of walking this life with us and guiding us every step of the way through your messages. We hear you through our own intuition, and we feel you walking right by our sides, and we overflow with gratitude. Thank you for financial abundance, an abundance of opportunities and miracles, blessings, and prosperity in every way. We know that you want us to succeed so that we can show others how you want them to succeed too. Thank you for the boundless love, kindness, empathy, and compassion that binds us all together. Thank you for the laughter, fun, moments of pure delight that fill us every day, especially today. God, universe, source, thank you for blessing us beyond measure and allowing us to use our souls, gifts, talents, skills, and abilities to serve the world. We love you. I love you. And in this we pray. Amen. Friends, we're working on some pretty major things over here. And if you wouldn't mind saying a little prayer that these things come to fruition if they're God's will, we'd so appreciate it. And please add a little prayer in for any specific thing you need right now, too. Have a beautiful, blessed day. And don't forget to submit your contact info at theangelmedium.com if you'd like me to channel the name of one of your angels for you. Sending you peace, bliss, and many blessings.